Hello everyone, today I got another package from Kato USA. I'm going to put a link in the description to how to find the website. For a while I couldn't find it, but then I found it again, so I made a big order. Let's just see what's inside. Get rid of this foam. So I got some RS2 handrails. That's for a future project. Another RS2 body, complete with couplers and everything. This one, it wasn't cheap, but I've got a good project for it. Number boards for an F7. I always need that. F7 truck, that's for a future project. I got an RSC2 truck for a future project. Same with this one. Whenever I go and make I order extra stuff. So I've got some more 3-chime air horns. These, you always need them. And I got some extra F7 or F3 horns. I like to keep them on hand. This is what I really wanted. The RS2 or the RSC2 motor. I really needed that. I also bought an extra frame for ES44. So that is also going to be a nice future project. So let's get to work on this. I bought this RS2 a while back used, and it looks amazing and it runs amazing, but it runs a little too slow. So I took it apart and I had a look at the motor, and there's something wrong with the motor. Here, let me show you. I used the box method to remove the shell. You just set up the steps on the side. Usually very easy to get the shell off. Here we go, it's coming off. There. Now these are very much appreciated by people because they have a circuit board which could be easily replaced with a decoder for DCC conversions. So that this little guy is a really good runner. Obviously, this is far superior to the Atlas China one. For example, there's little arrows here that show you which way the trucks go, so you can't make a mistake. And it's also much quieter than the Atlas. So let's take a look at this motor to see what's wrong with it. I couldn't replace it with just any Kato motor because it has tapered flywheels. Otherwise, that's what I would have done. Just take any motor and put it in. So I needed to order the specific Kato motor for this one. And then we can pop out the little circuit board. I'm not sure exactly who makes that. I've seen people do it. There's a specific decoder for this. And just taking my time here. And I have not seen anybody that does sound decoders for these. But if you go and try to look for one, you will find that they are a little bit expensive. For that reason, because you can switch them to DCC very easily. I mean, you can always go and get a universal decoder and put that in. That is a lot of work. Maybe I'll do it Honestly, I can run trains with DC, and I'm pretty happy with that. It's the DCC and sound that I like. So I'm gonna pop out these two worm gears. I'm gonna pop them out slowly, and then I'll pop out the motor because we gotta change it anyway. Now there's a white magnet on these, and you want to try to remember the position of the white magnet, because if you put it upside down, your train will run backwards. Let me just get my worm gears out, play around with that. So if you put your motor this way, it will run backwards. So pay attention to that. You can see here the special tapered flywheels that you need. So what's wrong with this motor? One of the wires got disconnected from this solder here, so that is really bad. I'm going to go under magnification. I'm going to try to show it to you. I'm going to try to keep it steady so you can see, but one of the wires here is loose, and that produces it's very hard to get light in there. That little wire here is loose, so the electricity can get to that phase of the motor, and I do not have the tools. I think you need a microscope to get in there and resolder that. I know if you guys have the skills for that, I'm impressed. Me, it's a lot easier to come up with $30 and get a new motor. So this one, I'm still gonna keep it around. It still turns. It really does still turn, but it's just very slow. And for an engine of this quality, I didn't want to start doing that. It was okay for me to spend the money. Just wanted to show you that it does still turn. Just for the quality of this engine, I wanted it to be perfect. So here's the part number if you're interested. It didn't come with the motor cradle, so I'm going to take the motor cradle from the old one and just stick this one on there. Sometimes I do keep those baggies, but today it's okay. I won't need it. That's a good quality baggie. I'm having to fight with it quite a bit to get it open. That's kind of funny. Okay, so as you can see, it has the white magnet there. So that means I have to put it this way. And then I'll take my old one and I'll take the engine cradle off. And then I'll bring the new one in. Now you have to manage the contact plates a little bit there. Make them the same as your other one. Maybe I should test it before I put it on the train. Oh yeah, it runs real good. Now I'm ready to reassemble everything. And before you snap this in, you know my my white magnets at the bottom here. Before you re-snap everything, just start lining up your worm gears. Just before. This thing, the way it ran, it was so quiet. It was an amazing runner. The best of the best. I just have to struggle with that little bearing at the end there. I've already cleaned and lubed this engine before, and I didn't run it for long enough to worry about it. I don't have to redo that again. So bring in the second side of the frame. Make sure it's in its cradle. Make sure the cradle pins are where they go. I have the two insulators there. So now I'm going to bring in my trucks. And the trucks have an arrow. Oh, before I do that, I want to make sure that I put my contact strips back on. Now these, even though they've been cleaned before, I just cleaned them again. Just in case. Since I have it apart. Things are looking up in the hobby. I find better and better quality stuff. You know, the features that people want. Easy conversion to DCC. I like DCC and sound. There's a lot more of these coming from the factory. I've been trying to get a hold of ESU, but you have to go through a dealer, and the dealers in my area are very friendly. They just do HO scale all the time. It's like I'm doing N scale. It's like I'm coming from Mars. Yeah, make sure you put that little pin under your contact, your board's contact. Otherwise, you're not going to be moving. And if that happens after, actually you won't be able to get the shell on. The little pin's going to keep you from putting the shell on, but it will also keep you from moving. Everything's still loose in here. I'm going to put the fuel tank. That's going to lock in my contact strips. It's beautiful detail on this engine, everywhere. Oh, I saw the coolest video the other day about the BL2, and it's by a guy called the Alco Diesel guy. I think I'm going to put a link in the description to that too. And I'm just looking for my arrows. The arrows always point out. And he went over the RS1, what a good engine that was a engine that railroads loved because it was so versatile. So I'll put a link in that too. That's a very cool video. Actually, it makes the RS1 look way cooler than the BL2. Although the BL2 I find is interesting. In N scale, there's only Life that made the BL2 so far. Like I said before, we're getting into always better, funner engines to have. So I'm going to try this on the bench first before I go on the track. As I do that, I also check for noise. And I check that the lights and the direction the wheels are moving match. So sweet. Let's go try it on the track. Actually, I am going to reuse the baggie because I'm keeping this for parts. You never know. You know, there's good brushes in there. I'm going to keep this. Put a little bit of leftover sticky tape from another project. And that will go in my parts bin like that. You guys probably knew this. The long hood is the front of a RS2. Listen to how smooth and quiet this runs. It's really cool. You know, while I have my shell off there, I was just wondering what would happen if you put an RS11 shell on this. This R11, it came with this type of chassis, which is the old Atlas Kato. These, they gave me hours of fun for many years. So I'm just curious, what would happen if? How would it look and how would it run? And then you can have your RS11s with the DCC conversion. Looks pretty darn good, actually. Let's see how it runs. Atlas Classics makes an RS11 which is DCC compatible. But I could get used to this. This is pretty nice, actually. That's kind of a good idea. If you guys have a broken shell from an RS2, you can use the RS11. And that is a nice looking engine, to be sure. And smooth too. It is such a good feeling to have this thing running properly. It was always looking great. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna change out these Rapido couplers. Since I have it all in my hands, I'm gonna change these out. The previous owner left me these proper clips. I got the Rapido couplers, but I also got these proper clips. These will just snap out pretty easily. If I can get my screwdriver in there just right. These are not meant to be hard. It's missing the little copper spring, but I could run them just fine without it. That didn't bother me too much. But now's the time to do some improvements. And the trick is to be patient. If I can get it just right in there, it will just snap off. And I like these clips, so it's worth taking time to do it right. Sometimes you'll see me stop and work off camera just so I can put it under my magnifying glass. I've got a little box for all these Rapido couplers. You never know, sometimes you need one, and waiting 2 weeks to get something is no fun. And I got another little baggie full of you know, spare couplers. So we're going to be using those today. I'm going to use exactly the ones from the B23-7, the last video I did. So I'm going to use them right away. Very cool stuff. I think Atlas uses McHenry. Anyways, that's my theory. Oh, and you know what else I need? I need just another, get another freight car truck, just to be sure that I'm putting the couplers on the right angle. I keep getting that mixed up. So I'll take that. I'll take that for a little bit of help. Just another truck, so I can get the proper. Of course, going to put it upside down. So put the truck upside down, and then make them together to be sure you have it just correct, and then slip that in there. Should go right in there, nice and easy. I may have to do it under magnification here. I can't see what I'm doing too much. Well, it turns out the Atlas box, the coupler box, was just a little bit too big. Of course, I can use my knife and open up the area here, but I find that this is nicely detailed, so I want to keep that. So I'm going to use my really good brown micro trans coupler. I'm going to check to see if the box fits in there first. Whilst I was setting up my couplers, I was almost ready to mill the frame down. Mill the pilot down and fit them in there. They're just too big. But while I was setting them up, they gave me a little bit of time to think. Mostly, I just bought a brand new shell complete with couplers, so I can use those couplers from my brand new shell. So that's going to simplify everything a lot. I also took the time there. I'm still keeping my truck just to have the orientation correct, just to be sure. I also took the time to take the shell apart 100%. So I get to do what I like, is have my locomotive just like it was factory fresh. And where's my retaining pin? Let me double check my focus there, make sure everything's perfect. So I took the shell apart, so with everything off like that, makes it a ton easier to get in there. I'm making it look worse than it actually is. It's just because when I do it on camera, I can't see as well what I'm doing. I have to do it under double magnification usually. Yeah, I may have to do that because I can't really see what I'm doing. Now I got it just lined up properly. Just have to snap it in. And then that's it. Just like brand new. And I preserved all the really good details that go on here. So sweet. I'm going to check again that I got the correct polarity on this. The correct, yeah, that looks really good. Awesome. I'm going to do the other side now. Do you guys find you have issues with couplers? I took the shell apart like that, makes it easier. I keep boxes of couplers around. When you put the shell together, be careful that your little handrails are out on the outside of the shell. So yeah, a lot of the freight cars I get, buy them cheap. Freight cars have coupler issues, and locomotives have coupler issues. The freight cars, it's debatable whether you want to fix them or not. It's really up to you. About half of my stuff still has rapidos. And these little ends, you have to guide them in. They pretty much want to go. It's not meant to be very hard. They pretty much want to go. There's a little hole for them. So once you got them lined up properly, they'll just snap into place. And you'll hear them. And that makes the shell look way better. And then there's a little F here. The little F is to signify the front. To signify the front, you guys know this, of course, that the front of an RS2 is the long hood. So that pretty much concludes this video. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.